Hello everybody and welcome to round 6 of the GRL Division 3 now. Not Division 4, last time I did this. It is now Division 3 and coming to you for the first time in America, the first time night race, and for the first time in the other hemisphere of the world here for your race this evening. And it will be here held at Las Vegas for the very first time in about, I had the number here, I think it's around about 30 odd years or so. The last time we were here in Las Vegas in Formula 1 was 1982, and that was called back then the Caesars Palace Grand Prix, and it was held in a car park here at Las Vegas. The time before that was 1981 at the same venue with the Caesars Palace Grand Prix, and there wasn't enough interest in it back then, but there certainly is now. So they've brought it back here for the first time in a good 40 years or so. Las Vegas Grand Prix, 25 laps this race will contain, and the circuit itself is a brand new one for us here in the world of F1. 17 turns, 11 to the left, 6 to the right, 3.8 miles or 6.12 kilometres, depending on what part of the world you hail from, and it is the third longest circuit on the calendar after Spa and Jeddah. 3 long straights, 2 DRS zones, and the longest one, I would imagine, on the calendar, or if not one of the longest ones on the calendar, down the main strip of Las Vegas. And that straight itself is 1.18 miles long or 1.9 kilometers, again depending on where you hail from around the world. So it's going to be new territory for all of the drivers out there today. They would have been putting in their practice laps, but this is the first race that all the leagues from around the world will be having, and it's the first time here in the GRL. We will be at Las Vegas, and it is a tricky one. The walls are tight and narrow, the track is loose and very green, so not a lot of grip on it, and you get it wrong into the braking zone and you can bet that the rear of the car will snap on you and you'll be facing the wrong way, or be worse yet, you'll be in the corner. As we ride on board here with a couple of them on their outlaps. Let me bring up the map here. Well, actually, and the lap data. We like that as well. As you can see, the weird shaped circuit we have here. And like I say, big three of the straights. I would say there's big 3 straights at this circuit, and the slight little, there is also a flat out section between turn 9 and turn 12, and that's the top left corner of that mini map there that you can see on your screen. It's flat out in the dry, but in the wet it can be very treacherous, and you need to take it carefully and tiptoe your way through. And I'm looking at the map now to see what it's called. It's called Sands Avenue, so I think we'll call that Sands for now. As we ride on board here with Macca in the Mercedes. And last time out, where did he finish last time out? We can certainly find out for you. He's currently leading your drivers' standings here for Division 3. Last time out, he finished in P6, and congratulations to Sonic Pikachu on the win last time out in Spain. And I will give an apologies for not being able to give you the coverage of that Grand Prix last time out, as I had a family issue come up and was unable to attend the very last minute. But apologies for not being able to bring you the Grand Prix last time. As who is on a flying lap? Have we got anybody on a flying lap? I believe Mr. Wheat, FGE Wheat here in the Williams, is on his first flying run. And through Sector 1, it's looking pretty tidy so far. What's his first sector time going to be? I think he's already made his way through it, actually, or is he coming up to it right now? I think the first sector line is around about here. There it is, a 44.7. I don't know if that's quick, I don't know if it's slow. We will be yet to find out as we make our way into qualifying. 4 minutes already gone, or is it 3 minutes already gone? Starts at 18, doesn't it? 4 minutes already gone. God, I haven't done this in a few weeks, you can tell, can't you? I'm a little bit rusty. A bit out of it. Oh dear. Predicted pole time today, set by the GRL officials. Division 3 here, expected to be a 1:31.3 pole time. So there's the little slide I was telling you about. He just skipped his way over the curb ever so slightly, but you can see him drifting his way through it. And I can tell you now that is not going to be the quickest way through the corners is drifting. You want to get the car wheels nicely planted. As a 1:33.3 is the first time set, and that is by G. And Maka immediately beaten by over a second by Maka, 7:17 in the Mercedes with a 1:32.2. As we've got a few more coming in now. Wargasm 1:32.4. As I'm not too sure. 1:32.2 for Alpha Heated in the Alfa Romeo. That's definitely not going to be confusing or a mouthful. As Yasin 1:31.8 in the Ferrari. I think we're missing Apex today, which is a bit of a shame, as he normally puts on quite a good show from the back to the front most weekends, or should I say most Monday nights. But a 1:31 your current pole time to beat. The time trial record holder currently is by Luke Smith of a 1:29.975. For all of those people out there that do love a good fact every now and then here. I try to give my sort of opinions on what is happening in the Grand Prix and whatnot, but I also like to come at you with some facts about the venue and the sort of history of the Grand Prix as well. But this one, there isn't really any, so this is all going to be new territory for everyone. As a few more people have set some lap times. You've got Boschua on a 1:31.9, Venicus on a 1:32.1, and currently that is your top 9, as one more has just set a lap time. Who was that? I can't quite work it out. I think it was ROM Lawn, sitting down there in P7. It looks as though he's replacing Pikachu for this race here at Las Vegas, which is a real shame, because he's made his way up to P2 in the standings. He's currently only, I think, how many points is that? 4 points behind Maka. So the top 2 fighting for this championship at the moment. One not here, but one definitely is, and they're only 4 points separated them after 6 rounds. So things definitely hotting up, and you can't even count out the people behind, because there is a lot of people on the, there's one in the 60s, one in the 50s, but then lots of people on 40 points or so. And the reason that this is now Division 3, I forgot to mention, is last week, unfortunately, as I say, wasn't here, but they decided to scrap the original Division 3 and Division 7, as there was a lot of complaints of driving standards up and down the divisions, not just in Division 4, as I think I rightly said about back in Canada, as boosted RB sets a 1:31.6, and that's a good lap from him there, getting very near to that predicted lap times that I mentioned just a moment ago. As a few more yet to set a lap time. We're right on board here with Nolan, I think. What sort of lap times he's doing, as he's just come on to his flying lap, now making his way through turn 3 and turn 4. And he is setting up his flying run here, down the first straight of 3, into this tricky little right-hander. It dips down and ducks away from you. If you get it wrong, you will be in that wall on the left-hand side. You really got to make sure you get the braking zone right for that corner, and also this corner. Get it wrong and you will miss this section completely. And believe me, if you go over that sort of little runoff area, it's alright, you haven't destroyed your car, but it will definitely punish you with a penalty, which is not what you're going to be wanting. As a 44.451 is Nolan's first sector in his McLaren. And we're right aboard that. To me, that corner there, corner number 12, trickiest corner on the circuit for me, as he now makes his way down the Las Vegas Strip. Look at it, casinos left, right, arcades, everything you could imagine here in Las Vegas, in the middle of the Mojave Desert in America. But look at the fantastic flood-lit track. What a spectacle that is. And later on in the year, when the real F1 goes to this circuit, you can imagine the atmosphere this is going to create. It's also going to be the first race held on a Saturday since 1985, and that was last held in South Africa. I don't believe it just wasn't on a Sunday. I'm not sure what day it was, as Nolan sets the time for 1:32.8 and slots into 11th place currently. I think there's still some improvement left to be found from a lot of these drivers, as not many of them getting down into the 1:31s, where that is definitely the time you're going to want to be aiming for, at least getting into those 1:31s around this circuit to get yourself in a good grid position for the race. However, as I believe, is that one of the Aston Martins has crashed? I just saw it as one's coming into the pits. Has he lost his front wing? I can't see. Yes, he has. Yeah, I think he's committed the ultimate sin I was talking about and lost it into that tricky turn 12 after the rapid right left-hander chicane down Sands. and it's very easy to lose the rear under braking into that corner, and you will if you get it wrong, and believe me, you can. So yeah, Mr. CF looks as though he has got it wrong as he makes his way back towards the pits. Luckily, he didn't destroy the car, but he has got it wrong. Looks like he's hit the wall, destroyed the front wing, and as I say, that corner is, my personal opinion, the trickiest corner on this circuit, and if you get it wrong, it will be a easy trip to the barrier, and it will easily finish your race as well. So you need to watch out for that one especially. As we ride on board now with Heated Alpha Heated, as he sets a purple first sector and makes his way onto his second flying run here of the qualifying session, and he's now making his way back down the boulevard here at Las Vegas. I'm going to ride on board once again because this is absolutely fantastic. Look at all the lights up and around, lighting the track up for everybody here. Absolutely fantastic. Imagine the crowd and the noise and the spectacle of all of this on the real thing. It's going to be the pinnacle, isn't it? I mean, you know, all the influx of new fans, and this is the culmination of all of that, and I think it definitely is a good thing. I'm not sure about free races in America, but I think this one could definitely be good, as he just pops it into P2, a 1:31.8, an improvement on his lap time and an improvement on his grid position currently. That's a good lap from Alpha Heated in the Alfa Romeo, as he'll be, I'm sure he'll be happy with that, and just a bit disheartened he wasn't able to just nip provisional pole there away from boosted RB in the AlphaTauri. As Mr. CF, as I like to call him, has retired from this session. It looks as though he's hit the wall down the straight. I'm not too sure how that's quite happened. Can I quickly get on board with the Alpha here? Am I on the right Alpha there? No, I wasn't. Bugger. Never mind. I gave it a go, and I unfortunately misjudged it, but there we are. We'll ride on board here with Corey42 as he's finishing up his lap through Sector 3 and dives into the pits, so he will be aborting this flying run. I think it wasn't going to be an improvement for him anyway, so probably the smart decision there to do so, as we now ride on board here with Boss Yan, who is definitely up on his lap time, as we'll ride on board with him through this little technical sector before you get onto the final straight, coming up to the final corner to finish the lap. And this little sector here is literally just a flat out line almost. You're flat all the way through here after that little technical sector. Hug the inside curve, make your shortest dash to the line, a 1:32.8. I think that improves his position by at least one, and he slots currently into P12. As I hadn't noticed, but Maka has slotted himself into P2, 1:31.7 for him in that Mercedes, and he'll be very happy with that, I'm sure. But once again, just that 10th or 2 off of pole position, and yeah, he'll definitely be looking to chase that down as we get into the final 5 minutes here of qualifying. And this is now going to be the sharp end of qualifying as well. Everyone's going to be getting all set up and heading out onto a lap very shortly for their final flying run, as Wright in the Aston Martin 1:31.6, just a few tenths faster than boosted RB, takes provisional pole position. This is that nasty turn 12 I was telling you about, where you can easily lose the rear of the car and put it in the barrier on the right hand side. So you need to be careful when riding through that sector. Make sure you get the braking just right, and you will be fine, as you need to get a good exit onto this straight, because this, as I say, this is the longest straight on the circuit, and I think it's probably one of the longest on the calendar itself. So you really want to get a good exit, or you will either lose a ton of time or gain a ton of time as you make your way down it. There's cleanly through that little twisty section, but he's made it very apparent he's coming into the pits now, and he'll get ready, set a new set of soft tyres onto the car, and get ready to go once again for his final run, as I'm not sure Wright is going to get back in time to get into the pits. So that's going to be an interesting development to see what happens there, as Nolan's on a flying lap and Avenicus is also on a flying lap. So let's see what he can do here. Is he up on his lap time? That would be the question. Apologies for that. Yes, he is. 3 tenths up on his lap time, Avenicus. And where would that currently stick him? That's going to stick him definitely within the top sort of 4, I reckon. if he can improve on it further in this final sector. He got very close to the wall there on that little second part of the chicane, almost, that is, section of the track. Is he going to hold that improvement all the way through to the line? What's he going to do? It's a 1:31.7. That puts him in P4. And that was a almost 4/10 improvement on his lap. But that's it, just enough for P4 currently, as everybody now is currently into the pits, as they all are waiting to go as late as possible out onto the track, get the best rubbered in track that you can. But I think that is Avenicus. I think that's his qualifying done now. So I think that's all he's going to be able to do, as by the time he gets back around and goes in on the pits, I don't think he'll have enough time to come back out and then go around to put in another fly run. As we now have a few cars out on track. Who's the first one out of these runners? It's Wargasm V in the Alpine, and so he'll be the first one to get a flying lap. And the interesting thing is will anybody make a mistake pushing hard? Do you want to risk it and go out a little bit earlier to make sure you get your lap finished, or do you want to be a bit further down the track to have the best conditions, but then you run the risk of potentially someone having a moment crashing, and then that's going to potentially affect your lap as well? So that is the risk you do run here, especially round a street circuit such as this. You know, the walls are right there upon you. It is fairly wide, and that's a good thing, because it does mean there's chances to overtake during the race, and I'll come back to that in just a short moment. The two Alpines there in formation as they head out on their outlap and prepare to wind up for their final flying run. As Avenicus, I've just seen on the mini-map, just coming into the pits now, so that is his session finished for him. So we'll see how far he potentially drops down, or maybe he stays where he is. Who knows? Well, that remains to be seen here in qualifying. But riding on board first will be with Wargasm V in the Alpine. He put in a pretty good first lap, and that put him right near the top, and since then he's gone tumbling down. He's now currently sitting in P11. Can he find the time? Can he make the improvement? He needs about 8/10 to be anywhere near pole position, as Wright has retired. So, is that a tactical retire, or is that him making a mistake, as we've got a yellow sector on the back straight? I think that's just the cars making their way, giving each other space, so they've got the gaps to the next guy ahead. I think Wright, that might just be he didn't have enough time to get out in the end, but he maybe he's confident that that is going to be the pole time, and no one's going to be able to put in a challenge. But I beg to differ. I think someone's definitely going to put the effort in, find that extra 10th or so, and make the challenge for pole position. As Wargasm now through this little twisty section in the first sector, and he's about to come up and finish the first sector, and this will give us an indication: is he up or down on his lap time? He's 3/10, almost 4/10 up on his lap time, 44.1. That is a good first sector, I believe, if you ask me. As I will stick with him actually, just to finish his lap out, and then we'll see if we can follow one of the guys at the back as they finish their lap, and we'll keep an eye on for yellow sectors and make sure no one's crashing out. And everyone's getting through calmly so far. No one's made the mistake that's caused them to destroy the car, lose a wheel or lose a front wing and ruin their lap entirely. So they're all keeping it clean so far. That's good to see. That's a good indicator for the race as well. As now into the final sector we go for Wargasm V. Can he absolutely improve on his time, as I believe he was still up by a good few tenths? How much of an improvement is it going to be? It's a 1:32 dead. That puts him up to P9 as he finishes his qualifying session there so far. Who's next to come across the line, as a few other drivers are up on their sector times? I think we'll follow on board here with Nolan. He's towards the back of the things here, as Yassin in the Ferrari managed to beat Boosted, who also beat Wright with a 1:31.5. That is the time to beat. Has anybody else got the time in their locker, the time up their sleeve, you know, the aces in their back pocket, as we are here in Las Vegas, one of the, I'd call it the gambling city of the world, the capital of gambling, as Macca slots into close P2, 1:31.6. Has Nolan got any time left in him? Has anybody else? Has Marcelo got a good time left in him? No, he finishes P12. And Nolan knocks Marcel down. Now he finishes in P12. P13 for Marcel, sorry, and P12 for Nolan. And is Bosjan on a lap? No, he's coming in. He's not able to make an improvement, and he's going to make his way into the pit. So that is your rundown, and that is qualifying here at Las Vegas. And that will be your grid for the race. I believe... I'm not sure if Mr. CF actually did set a time, but I thought maybe I saw it in the chat that someone mentioned potentially about penalties being served at the beginning of this. However, just having a quick look at the chat now, and I've got Wargasm asking, "What's my Twitch channel?" I literally put it in the chat, not as I started, and it's kind of like, well, it's there for you to see, my guy. I don't know if I can make it any clearer than that. But there is your grid for the race next time in just a few short moments. Well done to the Swede of Yasin there in the Ferrari. Pole position for him, 1:31.535. As we then have Maka, Boosted, Wright, Heated Alpha, Avenicus, Basha, Boshua, oh my god, that's fun right there. Corey, Wargasm, Lawn, Nolan, Vicello, Wheat. And as we go slightly further down from P14 onwards, so P15 Bosjan and P16 Mr. CF himself, rounding out your grid for the race coming up in just a few short moments. Oh, I am back. Just had to take a quick drink there to make sure the old pipes were working effectively. And so, as we can see on your screen there, a wet start to this Grand Prix, just to throw a big old spanner in the works, just to make things just a little bit more difficult for the drivers out there. Already on a slippery circuit, this is the Las Vegas Grand Prix, as it is brand new to everybody. And the rain there, just to spice things up just that little bit more. We've got a start time here of 27 minutes past the hour, so we will get going shortly in about 3 minutes time. However, I am being told in the chat that about halfway through we will get a dry track, so this is definitely going to be an interesting play of strategy for the drivers out there today, and it'll be interesting to see what they can come up with, who's going to blink first to switching onto the dry rubber, or who's going to brave it out that little bit longer and potentially play a slightly more cautious strategy. And also, don't forget, safety cars could absolutely come into play around this circuit. As I say, those walls are tantalisingly close to the edge of the racetrack, although you do have enough room to go side by side. Do be aware they will come up on you quicker than you might think. But this has thrown my pit strategy notes all out the window, and they are going to be a complete waste of time. The pit strategy for the dry would have been, you could have had the options of anything, really. You could go mediums to hards, soft to mediums. You also could have had a two-stop medium, soft. But as I say, that's now all gone out the window, and you're going to be starting, I would imagine, on the intermediate tyres, judging by the weather. Look at it coming down out there. Absolutely horrendous. But that's what the wet tyres are there for. And that means we will get some racing under wet conditions, so that will definitely shake up the strategies. And I wonder if that also made the drivers think about their setups for this Grand Prix. Although going onto a dry track, you want as low downforce as possible. So who's braved it out and really gone for the lowest downforce setup they dare to choose, and who's potentially gone a little bit more cautious and think, hang on, if I can get a good start to this Grand Prix, maybe I can just maintain the position as the track begins to dry out and the drier tyres begin to come, the prime tyre for the circuit conditions. So my predictions really now, this is off the cuff. Pit strategy, I'm probably looking at an intermediate start. It doesn't look as though it is a wet tyre out there currently. And then it depends on how long the intermediate's going to go on for. If it's about half and half, you've got a 25 lap race here at Las Vegas, but it is one of the longest circuits on the calendar, as I said before, so you really need to make sure you get onto the dry tyre at the right time. You don't want to be stuck out on the slower tyre, because it is a long lap in back to the pits once again. Once you go past that pit entry, you're in for the lap, and you've got to make it count. So if you make the wrong call, you definitely could suffer for it. But my pit prediction now is going to be a one-stop, and it's going to be intermediates, and I would imagine the smart choice is to put on a medium tyre towards the end of the Grand Prix, just to make sure you get to the end of the race. But I reckon a soft could also come into play, depending on when the crossover period comes to the drivers. So, 27 minutes past. The lights should be coming on any second now, as the drivers make their way onto the grid. As I say that, there they are. 3 lights, 4 lights, and 5. And they're out, and away they go. Here at the start of the first Las Vegas Grand Prix. Good start there from the Mercedes of Maka up the inside as the AlphaTauri looks to go around the outside, but I think he just got a bit trapped in by the Ferrari of Yasser, but he'll now have the inside corner for the next one round as he really hugs that inside corner. I think that might have actually cost him a little bit of time. Yes, it has. Boosted RB has now made the move on both of them and takes the lead of this Grand Prix, but don't count out Yassin in that Ferrari. They contact a little bit. Oh no, and the Mercedes have gone on. The Ferrari's gone on. Oh no. They've both gone on at the 5th corner here, and Nolan has retired. Yep, he's into the wall, into the barrier, and I am not surprised by that one bit, as I believe, is that a safety car now, or is that a virtual safety car we now have here? A few corners into this Grand Prix, and I warned them, it's a slippery track, and they both outbrake themselves into that corner. The first real heavy braking zone of this race, and we're currently under virtual safety car. So from first and second down to second to last and last for the for the pole sitter and the guy lining up alongside him. That is not the start they would want of this Grand Prix here, as they make their way for the first time onto the strip, as we ride on board here with Corey in the other Mercedes, as his teammate has fallen down to the very back of the grid, and unfortunately we've had Nolan hit the wall in the McLaren and is out of the Grand Prix today. So the question is, when's the safety car going to come in, the virtual safety car? There you go, there's your options for pit strategies given to us by the game, but I don't think they're going to be into effect for the entire race. As I said, I've been told it's meant to go dry at some point halfway through, as we're now back under green racing conditions, as the the Red Bull of Basher makes a look up the inside, and that's the Alpine. He's absolutely Mr. Right. He's gone. He's out. He's completely clattered the wall, as there goes Wargasm. He's the other DNF, and Mr. CF has just had a slide there at the back. Oh my god, it's all happening here. That's 2 cars, 1 straight that we've just lost on the restart. And it looks as though there's a Haas with a broken front wing. That's Boschua. Oh my god, I can't even get the words out right. What just happened there? It looked as though the Aston Martin, I think, got tagged potentially by the Red Bull of Asher, and therefore it got sort of They hit into the pit, into the wall of the pit straight, if you like, but on the other side. And then I think Wright didn't really see it in time, had nowhere to go, and it looks as though he potentially hit. Not Wright, sorry, Wargasm had nowhere to go, and I think he hit Wright after they came colliding into the wall down the start-finish straight there. And that's 2 drivers gone, and we're only on lap 2. So that's 3 drivers out for the and we're only on to lap 2, as a full safety car has been called, and Wheat there having fun with the track limitations of this circuit, and picks himself up 3-second time penalty for multiple infringements there, as We now wait for Boosted, who did have himself a nice lead before the safety car and all of the happenings just happened. But what a day here for AlphaTauri. Currently both P1, P2 for Boosted and Avenicus, and the Red Bull of Bashir P3, P4 is Corey in the Mercedes. Alpha Heated P5 in the Alfa Romeo, Boschua in the Haas P6, but I believe he's going to be coming in for a pit stop with a broken front wing, as it looks as though Marcelo's following him in. I think he might have also picked up a tiny little bit of damage there. They should just be switching back onto the intermediates once again, and then they'll make their way back out. But that moves Maka up, and that moves Yasin up, who after an appalling start have now made their way back up to 7 and 8, so they're already halfway up through the grid now, as they are now all backed up under safety car conditions here at Las Vegas. We're on lap 3 here of the Grand Prix out of 25, so still a long way to go, so don't count yourself out yet. And I'll say it this week, as I'm sure I will be saying it every single week. All you need to do at this point is finish the race, and you will finish in the points. Points go down all the way down to P15, so points will be awarded to everybody that finishes this Grand Prix. And if you can finish higher up the grid, obviously good on you, you'll get more. But even if you finish down there in P13, if you finish, you will finish in the points as well, which is absolutely fantastic. I think that's a great rule that they've brought in here for the GRL. They've tweaked the point system, they've gone for a MotoGP style of point system here in the GRL. And I think actually, what is Wheat doing? He's now picked up 5 seconds worth of corner cutting penalties, and I don't understand how, because we're under safety car conditions. You don't need to push it. You'll be making your way to the back of the grid, and back of the train, and you'll just pick up the you'll pick them up. You'll probably get onto the back of them in just a few moments time. So does that mean he's got 8 seconds now? Should we have a little look? What has he managed to do here? Position changes. Here we go. Who is the big winner and loser of this? I'd say Boss Jan in the Ferraris moved up 9 positions, so he started P15 on the grid here. He's now found himself all the way up into P6, so good on him. And the top 4 are all the big winners here, really. And so is Mr. CF. He's managed to make his way 7 positions up from his starting position, so well done to him as well. As stop-wise, we've had a few we've had the bottom 4 stop here, but I don't think that's going to affect tyre strategies all that much, to be honest. And yes, Wheat in the Williams has managed to pick himself up 8 seconds worth of time penalties, even under safety car conditions. So that is the big controversy going forward here at the moment, although I'm sure some questions will be raised as to how the incident came around between the Alpine and the Aston Martin of Wargasm and Wright, as that could lead to some penalties being dished out at the end of this, or potentially qualifying bans, who knows. I'm sure we'll find out later on in the week what has happened between that lot. However, whilst we're under safety car conditions, I can give you the rundown a little bit of the race results last time out. As I said, I do apologise for not being able to give you the details of it, but last time out, Pikachu in the Alpine managed to get another win under his belt, and he pulled out a bit of a gap to the guys behind and closed the gap in on Maka, but that will drop back a bit again today, but well done to him. Avenicus managed to score himself P2, and Yasin managed to P3 last time out in Spain, so that was your top 3. You then had Boss Yan, you had, I believe, Mr. CF, although it comes up as Cammy here in the Discord. Maka P6, Marcelo in P7, Boosted RB P8, and then I've got Moreno and Tomo P9 and P10 rounding out your top 10 there last time out. You also have Quick V8 in the Alpine. I'm not quite sure who that would be, but potentially that could have been a fill-in. You also had Croaky in the McLaren, and you have Nolan also in the McLaren P12, P13 respectively. But like I said, all of them would have picked up points who did finish last time out. So, like I say, that's all they need to do again, is just make sure that they do finish the race, and finish. If they do, they will finish in the points. So that's what they will be aiming for. As we get going green again here, as we make our way round the final corner or not the final corner, sorry, I do apologise, round the final little twisty section up towards the final corner. Safety car would have pulled off ahead now, and we're going to ride on board here with the Red Bull of Basher and see what sort of racing we can expect to play out for the rest of this Grand Prix. Hopefully no more incidents, hopefully it will be just action-packed racing all the way to the line here as we make our way, finishing lap 4, beginning of lap 5. Boosted has not quite gone, he's got a bit of a shaky start off the final corner there, but I think he's got the gap that he needed, so no dive bombs will happen into T1. As, oh my god, the Mercedes from out of nowhere, what was he thinking? And he's absolutely clattered. He clattered the Red Bull and he absolutely destroyed the other AlphaTauri of Avenicus into T1. That was a very, very ambitious move, I will say. But that was wholeheartedly on the Mercedes there. As too rightly, he so drops down to the back of the field. A little bit of an anticlimactic restart apart from that one little incident we have there, as Boschua just makes his way past Mr. CF, as that was Yassin getting it all wrong and just clipping the wall there. And I wonder if he's now picked up some more damage to that front wing with that little bit of a clip into the wall. I wonder if we can spot anything going on with his car, as we're still under green conditions. Boosted managed to pull out a second gap from Basher in the Red Bull, who's pulled out a second gap from Heated in the Alfa Romeo, and then you've got a little bit of a train forming back to P6 in Maka. And then you've got a little bit more of a train forming the rest of the grid, except Corey, who's dropped way off the back of the grid in the other Mercedes. As we make our way onto the Boulevard Strip and down the 1.9 kilometre straightaway. This is your best chance at overtaking at the end of this straightaway. Use your eyes if you dare, but when the track dries out we will have the use of the DRS, and that is where things will get spicy. But at the moment there is no DRS, as they're looking to potentially go 3 wide, and I think they definitely thought better of it going into that corner in the end, and smartly so as well, as Jan Boss, or Boss Jan, is right all over the back of Avenicus. He's managed to make his way back up into P4 in the AlphaTauri. Is he going to look up the inside? No, he's going to sit behind just for the moment, but he is all over the gearbox of that AlphaTauri as well, and he will be in his mirrors looming. I don't think Avenicus will appreciate that too much, but he's definitely going to be looking in those mirrors to spot where he is and see if he goes for a dive or a move. And he's pulled out a little bit of a gap there out of that sector, out of turn 4 there onto that little straight. And I think he's safe from a move currently, as Boschua now all over the back of the Mercedes of Maka. Boschua in the Haas here once again as they make their way through the twisty section here, as I believe the other Mercedes has gone off into the runoff now, so he managed to outbrake himself once again, and that is not a good start to the weekend here. He's back racing again, and we're back under green flag for that sector, so he's making his way forward. That's good news to hear from him, but Joshua Boschua here within 4/10 of that Mercedes in front of him. Can he get a good exit here out of turn 12? As that's the Red Bull into the barrier. Who was that? That was Marcelo getting it all wrong there. And luckily for him, I think it's just the front wing, but that has actually caused a safety car, as all the carbon fibre and debris all over the circuit rightly should. But I think that has saved Marcelo there from a nasty race. And a nasty finish to this race as well, so he can get in under safety car, get back out, catch back up to the pack, and continue racing once again. So I think that's a lucky break from him, if anything, as I just spied that Corey42 has managed to pick up himself a drive-through penalty. I don't quite know what he's doing, but if this is what he is expecting to be good driving standards, I would be interested to know what he thinks bad driving standards are, as we've got a couple of guys actually pitting in, as I've just noticed. I don't know how I've only just noticed it, but the rain has stopped, and as Lorne is speeding into the pit lane, and I wonder here if some of the guys are actually going to switch onto a dry tyre. As yeah, it looks as though the Ferrari has gone onto the hard compounder tyre. That's Yassin who's risking it. I think Marcelo here has gone onto the mediums once again with a new front wing, so he will definitely have to pit again, as Corey now speeds into the pit lane as well. What a lovely day from him, and he's retired. Why am I not surprised? Yep, that doesn't shock me at all, to be honest. Like I said though, all he had to do was finish. He would have had a point at least, or a couple of points, as P15 is only 1 point, so he would have had a couple. But what a woeful day from him. Absolutely dreadful. Like I said, I don't know if he. Like I say, I wasn't here for the last one, the last race out in Spain. I don't know if he was there for it, but from the short, brief moment of watching him here this afternoon, I am questioning whether his driving standards are good enough to be here in the GRL, especially in the heights of Division 3, because once you make it up to Division 3 and onward, you really should be setting an example to those lower divisions and really should be setting the standards of racing going forward. I really shouldn't be seeing collisions every single time out. You know, you do get the odd one or two. I understand that racing is hard and you need to be hard to go racing. But, yeah, sometimes you just got to know when the corner's not yours, and you just got to know... Oh, he says something is wrong with his brake pedals. If that is the case, then fair play to you. Pressed 100 and it just went to 65. Well, that is understandable then, if that is the case. I apologise for the things I've said, but I have to comment on what I see, but you've come in and explained yourself, so that does make sense. No, it's alright, you don't have to apologise. You've made your case, and I can completely understand the situation you're in now. I do hope you can get things sorted and get ready to go for next week again, and get some good racing. And you had a bit of pace as well, so it's a shame, really. But no worries. Understandable. These things do happen as you go racing, as I think most of the grid now has come in for the dry tyres, and that does mean that the people who pitted for the dry tyre the first time around, aka Yasin here, has made his way from the back of the grid all the way up to the front of the grid. So that, yeah, guess I need to buy new pedals. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh, apologies there, Corey. I do apologise, but I hope, like I say, I hope you do get things sorted and get ready to go for next week. And you can expect some good racing next week as well, I'm sure. But we're not in next week just yet. We're still here and we're still at Las Vegas. We're on lap 8. We've had 2 safety cars, 4 drivers out, and 1 virtual safety car, all within the space of 8 laps. So this has been action-packed so far, but it doesn't really feel like we've got much racing under the circumstances here at the moment. However, Avenicus currently out in P1 on the medium tyre as well, I will add, so I wonder if he can get those all the way to the end of the Grand Prix. I think the hard tyre potentially was the smart choice. You definitely should get that to the end. I think the medium tyre is going to be a little bit of a push, but with the slippery conditions of it just being rained on the circuit, I think the medium tyre was actually the smarter of the 2 choices. But we'll have to just wait and see when they get going green again to see who's made the right decisions of tyre and who's going to benefit from what they've decided to go on to, and who will need to pit again before the end of this Grand Prix. And actually, I think what might be the smart thing is to see who is on what tyres. It's actually a pretty 50-50 split. So you've got some on the hard, some on the mediums, so it's pretty split down the middle here. That's alright. I think the moment I'm guessing where the pedals broke is on the first safety car restart for you there, Corey. And I saw you go for it looked like an incredibly ambitious move. But Avenicus, the guy who you come into contact with, is currently leading this Grand Prix. So I think all will be forgiven, even if he wins this. I think most of that will be forgiven and forgotten, in all honesty. So don't worry about it too much. You just focus on what you need to do and get your head back in the game and get ready for next week, as I say, as I'm sure the safety car will be in at the end of this lap, and we can get back on the green once again and hopefully get some good overtaking action. As I say, DRS should be activated now. We've got 2 zones here this evening, one down that long boulevard straight of the Las Vegas strip, and the other is down that slightly shorter strip down into turn 5. Let me find the name for you. It's Covell Lane and into Caesars Forum. That's a lovely Lovely complex of names there. I'm just looking at the names of the things around the corners and the straights, as this is a brand new track, never been raced on before, so it probably doesn't have any names to go by yet. Yeah, I don't blame you for ordering new pedals if that is the case. Absolutely don't blame you whatsoever. But yeah, so brand new track, as I say, so none of the corners have really any names. You only have sort of the landmarks to go around the sort of corners to go off by. So corner 12 there, turn 12 that we've just witnessed. As I've just witnessed Mr. Sia for 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. So I wonder if he's just cutting the corner a little bit too much there in turn 12. But turn 12 is the corner of Wynn Hotel, Fashion Show Mall and Treasure Island. And I think I'm going to call that Treasure's Cove. I think that's a much more fitting name for that corner, as it is a treasure. You could end up in the little cove, or it could be a treasure that you make it through the corner and onto the straight. So that's going to be my name for that corner. Turn 12 there, as the safety car is now run off into the distance, and Avenicus is backing the grid up, getting ready to go racing once again here at Las Vegas. And hopefully we'll get more than sort of 4 or 3 laps without another safety car getting involved, and hopefully we can get some strategy developed in on this as well. As he's gone through the final corner, as I think boosted there. He's going to potentially make the move on the Ferrari of Bossian. He thinks better of it. He definitely had a little bit of a run, but I think by the time he got up to the first corner and the second corner here, he didn't quite have the run he thought he had. So he's going to be looking to get a good exit now out of turn 3 and turn 4 here onto this little miniature straight as you head your way down to turn 5. Has he got the run on this Ferrari? I think he's absolutely going to look to go up the inside. He might even have the move done before they make the corner. Absolutely made that look easy, and he's given the AlphaTauri squad another lovely 1-2 to start lap 10 here, as Avenicus has now pulled out a second and a half, and that is the Red Bull looking to go around the outside but then up the inside, and then we'll now have the outside again. But I think he got the move done. What a lovely move there by Basher in the Red Bull around the outside of Yassin in that Ferrari, and that was an absolutely lovely clean move. That was brilliant. Absolutely, Corey, we'll see you next week, and I'm sure you'll come back stronger than ever. Looking forward to seeing it there as well. I'm not quite sure where we are next week. I can have a look at that a little bit later on. But back to the action at hand, as now Mr. CF, another 3-second time penalty for track limit violations. So corner cuttings in the sort of general term of things. As they now make our way onto the finish straight, apologies, onto the Las Vegas strip, as Marcelo is potentially going to be lining up a double move here. Can he get 2 into 1? He can't quite get 2, but he's definitely made the move there on the AlphaTauri of Heated, and makes the move up into P8. What a lovely move from there by him there as well. As is that the Williams into the wall, and I think that's going to be him trundling back to the pits. And what an awful afternoon it has been for Wheat there in the Williams. Or is he going to continue going around? He's still going around. I wonder if he did hit the wall then, or if he just made a mistake and had to take it tiptoeingly through and very cautious. So unfortunately he is now off the pack here at the back of this Grand Prix, and back of the train. Has Micello now looking to line up his next overtake on Boschua in the Haas. Has he got the space to do it? No, he hasn't. He slots back in behind. He thinks better of it, and he's going to try and get the jump on him, I'm sure, somewhere else around the circuit here, as there are plenty of opportunities to do so. As I say, there are 3 nice straights here into some heavy braking zones where you can get some moves and nice overtaking done. So plenty of opportunities to get an overtake done, and you just got to be brave enough on the brakes without the DRS to do it, as I'm sure once they activate the DRS, overtaking will absolutely become a lot easier, and we should see a lot more passes going on. However, we're still currently under the conditions of no DRS, so give it another lap and I'm sure they will activate it. However, I think Micello here has just dropped off a little bit at the back of Boschua, but Boschua is actually looking to make a move on Maka in the Mercedes. He's going to go for the long way round the outside of this next corner, T13 or T14 it is. Technically the kink in the straight there is 13, but it's not really a straight, it's completely flat out. But did he get the move done? I don't think he quite got it done. He still slots back in behind Maka in the Mercedes as they follow on single file down the back straight here once again, as Avenicus setting the fastest lap again, and then Boosted taking it away from him immediately, as I think Wheat has done the exact same thing he did last lap. What was that? Has he completely... I think he just misses his braking zones every time, doesn't he? As he goes into the corner. I don't quite know what's going on there. But it's not looking good, as Bosch is now less than a tenth, as they're looking to almost go 4 wide down here, as he's all over the back of Maka, as Misello looking to go up the inside, potentially of the two of them, but he makes better judgment of it. And he knows that he definitely would have caused something if he'd gone for that. But Yasin dropping down, I wonder what's happened to him in the Ferrari. I wonder if he's clipped the wall again and picked up some extra damage there on his front wing. But they're still currently following in the same formation here through this Grand Prix, as there's another there's a virtual safety car now. Virtual safety car. And I wonder what that is actually for. I think it might be a little bit of the debris that's gone flying around the circuit. I think Yasin actually might have picked up some front wing damage. We can try and get a look here at the front of his car if we get the right angle. There it is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the left wing end plate is mysteriously disappeared from his car. But I think I know where I could find it if I wanted to go and pick it up off the circuit. But I don't think I will be doing that. 1, it's virtual, and 2, I don't really want to. So, as Mr. CF has retired, what has gone on there, I wonder? Has he had a moment? He has! He's had a massive moment! The rear wheel is off the car, and he has made the fateful error down in Treasure Cove. That fateful turn 12. It's the turn I was warning everybody about before we got into this Grand Prix, as it is, in my opinion, the trickiest corner on this circuit. You're coming through a really fast left-hander and immediately on the brakes into another left-hander, and what that does is if you don't get the braking zone just right and you're turning too much lock, you will easily lock the rears up and it will send you round, and I think that could be what Mr. CF has done, and it looks as though he's gone round and hit the rear into the wall, and that has caused him to lose his rear wheel, and he is out of this Grand Prix, as the Ferraris now make a double stack. And I wonder if that is a planned sort of pit stop by those two to sort of make the most of the virtual safety car, which we are no longer under. So I think Yasin there has actually lost the most out of all of that pit stop for the two Ferraris. I don't think they were quite expecting the double stack, but there we go. That is what has happened, as we now have a little train here forming, and we are now under DRS conditions. So expect Maka to be trying to defend as best he can from Boschua, Micel and Heated Alpha, the cars trailing him within that DRS zone. And I wonder if Boosted RB and Basher can make their ways into the DRS zones of the cars ahead of them, as you should now see down the straight here of the boulevard of Las Vegas those little flaps in the rear wing. Not that they should do too much, because I'm sure every car, or most cars, will be running a very low downforce setup. So I'm not too sure how much of a difference it's going to make, as yeah, you can see there they haven't quite got the pace over the car in front to really make a move on them. So it's going to be, as the Haas has a little bit of a wiggle coming out of the little chicane there. He's managed to keep it on track, he's managed to keep it out of the wall more importantly, and he continues to go forward on in this Grand Prix, as Alpha Heated just sets the fastest lap of a 1:39 dead in his Alfa Romeo, as they now go sliding through T1, T2 and into T3 and T4 onto the first of the DRS straights of this lap. Lap 14 we're currently on, and there's a bit of a gap reaching out between the cars up ahead from P1 down to P4, as this seems to be the closest on-track action we have. Currently 4 cars, Maka in P4, Joshua Boschua P5 for the Haas. That's a good result for him if he can keep it there, or indeed improve. That would be a fantastic weekend for him. Misello in the Red Bull P6, and P7 Alpha Heated in the Alfa Romeo. And I'm waiting for some action to come alive out of the screen at me, and see what these guys can produce. They're all on the, they're not all on the same tire actually. 2 of them are on the hard, 2 of them are on the medium, so that could also play a factor as we go deeper and deeper into this race, as Boschua, I think, is all over the back of Maka on this occasion, and that's going to be interesting to watch. Is he going to, DRS should be open now. Look at the speed of which he will go past him. He's going to have that move done before they even get into the braking zone of T14. Purple sector for Boschua because of that as well. Lovely move from him up into P4, And now Macca's going to pick up the tow and the DRS of the Haas driver, unless he can pull out a miracle and break that gap by a second within the next few corners. I don't know if it's going to be possible to do so, but he will certainly give it a go, I'm sure, as I think Marcelo is now coming under threat from Alfa Heated in the Alfa Romeo. He's within a couple of tenths of that Red Bull, and coming up to now the first DRS zone of the lap, once again, as I said, as I think Joshua could be reeling in the P3 of Basher. But Marcelo, lucky for him, will also have the DRS. Has a little look there from the Alfa Romeo into the mirrors of that Red Bull. He's sort of saying, I am here, I will go for the move if the opportunity arises. So Marcelo really going to have to keep it clean, not make a mistake. But actually it's looking, he could also potentially get a move on his championship rival in Macca in that Mercedes, as he is all over the back of him as well, as Boschua has now managed to pull out 7/10 of a second over Macca in P5, and I'm wondering, can Boschua actually pull out the gap even further and potentially break the DRS toes? There was a little wiggle there from the Red Bull of Marcelo, and a little wiggle on the exit as well. That's going to definitely get him under pressure of Heated in the Alfa Romeo, as he's already almost alongside him. He sits just in the slipstream of him for just a little bit longer. DRS now open on both cars. Is Heated going to have has the run on the Red Bull? He's definitely going to be looking up the inside. Can he make the move? Oh, I do apologise. No, he hasn't. He's tucked back in. I thought I was on Heated there to see if I could ride on board with him to see what he was going to do. But we did see that he just slid back into the slipstream of the Red Bull of Marcelo. And this is going to be a four-way battle, I fear, all the way to the end. Not that I'm going to complain about that, as they're almost going 3 wide into turn 1. And that's Macca going around the outside of Boschua in the Haas for P4. And then Marcelo's looking to go up the inside. Oh, they've touched, they've clipped, and oh no! That's Boschua. He has come into contact with Heat and Alpha. He's lost his front wing. And Boschua definitely the victim in all of that, I would say. But he was the one who tried to go for the move up the inside of Marcelo, as I believe he was on the outside, if my memory served me well. Just looking at that, as Lawn now makes his way up into P6. They're still fighting with Marcelo, and no safety car, more importantly. We're still under green racing conditions here, as Marcelo looking to go round the outside of Lawn, get the switchback potentially in this section here, and I think he's going to go up the outside here, but should get the better drive out of the corner. He's got the long way round, but will be able to get his foot down a lot quicker and hopefully get the drive out of the corner. As you can see, they're going to go side by side through this quick right-hander and then into the quick left-hander, into the hardest corner on the circuit. And I wonder if Marcelo has already got the move done. I believe he has, and yes, Lawn is going to slot back into P7 behind Marcelo, who's managed to just keep the position there in front of him. Well, it's all happened there for a brief moment, but that has now broken up the field a little bit, and I believe the gaps are all sort of spacing out. So this is going to be the closest on-track action currently. So Lawn just making his way back up into P6 ahead of Marcelo, as Marcelo there had lost the DRS, had no DRS because of the incident we just witnessed, and as he actually comes into the pit, so I wonder if he's got a little bit of damage there on his front wing. Is he missing an end plate? He did go round, but I didn't think he'd lost anything, so what's he going to be doing here? Soft tyres going onto the car, and yeah, there it is, the front wing change, so maybe he did pick up a little bit of damage on the incident there with Boschua and Heated Alpha on the way through. As Heated Alpha now makes his way into the pits as well, as I expected him to do so, and I wonder if Marcelo can close that gap back up to Heated Alpha and potentially give us a race on our hands here for P7, although I say that the gap is 8 seconds and they're both going to be on fresh sets of soft rubber. I say that, no they're not, Heater's on a set of medium compound tyres, so Marcelo's got it all to do to try and catch back up and chase down, as I've just seen the two front runners, P1, P2 of Venicus and Boosted, both in the AlphaTauri, within a tenth of one another. Is that a tactical change for the lead, I wonder? It looked like Venicus made that very easy, Boosted giving him masses of room with the overtake, and they've now swapped positions round, and P1, P2 still for AlphaTauri, as I wonder if Venicus's tyres have gone. what's happened here. He's coming into the pits now. He's on the medium compound, has boosted, just sets the fastest lap at 1:36.4. And I wonder if there wasn't enough rubber on those medium compound tyres to get them all the way to the end of this Grand Prix. As we now watch Venicus coming for his pit stop. Onto the soft tyres, absolutely, why wouldn't you be? And away he goes once again. A little bit of a gap there in the, I think that was just a bit of a lag spike, as Bossian now sets the fastest lap, 1:36.1 in the Ferrari. He's on a fresher set of rubber though, and that is understandable from him. But Venicus comes back out into P4, Maka and, well, Basher up into P2, Maka now up into P3, and Venicus comes back out in P4. So what he's now going to be hoping is really towards the end of this Grand Prix is the hard compound tyres are really going to drop off, and he can make full use of that. And I say that there's two medium runners ahead of him and he is on the soft, so watch that gap, watch it start tumbling. Look at that, 9.8 already. He's already eating into the lap times of the guys ahead, as we now follow on board with Bossian, who just set the fastest lap, and he is following ROM Lawn in the Alpine rather closely, and more importantly within that DRS zone. So T12, the tricky Treasure Cove, and now they make their way onto the boulevard, onto the Las Vegas Strip, with all the floodlights, as Wheat has set the fastest lap in the Williams on the fresh soft compound of rubber, as the DRS wide open there on Bossian because he's within that 1 second window, as a nice wide berth there. Smart racing really. You don't want to be running too close to them, as incidents can occur, and you never know if the internet's going to hold out and just break as and when you make that overtake and cause life misery. You don't know, do you? So no, nice sensible racing there, wide berth, because he knew the overtake was going to happen one way or another. No point in fighting it, as Bossian now sets the fastest lap again with a 1:35.8. The track seems to be improving and the lap times seem to be tumbling, as Venicus now 7.6 seconds after one lap on those soft compounds. I don't think he has finished the lap. He has finished the lap, but yeah, 7.4 seconds now the gap to the guy ahead. It was 10 seconds last time out, as Micello 1:33.8 on a fresh set of soft compound tyres, and that was just his outlap for Venicus as well. So watch him eat further and further into that lap time of Maka up ahead in P3. I wouldn't count the win out for him here. He's got 6 laps to do it, and he's got 12 seconds to break down, but will the soft tyres hold out long enough, or will the hard tyres or the medium tyres drop off and enable Venicus here to really eat into the time gap between them? 5.6 is now the gap to Maka in the Mercedes. I think he'll absolutely catch up to P3, and I wouldn't put P2 out of it, but P1 might be a bit of a stretch, but we will see what happens. 6 seconds, so 5.9, 6 seconds between them as they've just gone through the straight. And I wonder if Venicus has a little bit more downforce potentially than Maka, but through the corners here, watch that lap time tumble. 5.6, half a second there within just 3 little corners, little chicane. I say that it's 8 tenths. Look at it drop. It's still dropping. Almost a second in one sector there. That final sector, as I thought he was going to set the fastest lap, but he hasn't. So 5 seconds now to P3 for Venicus. 4.8, 4.7, 4.6, 4.5 is dropping. He's almost gained another second through those first 4 corners. They look like 2, but apparently they're 4. I don't make the track layouts. However, 4 seconds now separates him and P3, and look at that, it's now dropping all over once again. 3.9, 3.8, 3.7. When's it going to tick? It didn't tick quite. 3.5, it jumped even more. This is exciting stuff. The strategy playing out here is going to be nail-biting come the end of this Grand Prix. You've got 5 laps to go till the checkered flag is waved, and you've got a hungry Venicus in that AlphaTauri chasing down the guys in front of him on older... They're on older tyres. He's on fresh, soft rubber, and he is absolutely eating 10th by 10th, second by second, lap by lap. 2.5 seconds is now the gap. He's gained 2.5 seconds within the first half of this lap alone. And what can he gain in the last half of this lap as well? I'd imagine at least another half a second. Watch that gap come down to around about 2 seconds by the time you get to the end of this lap. And actually, I think this could be a good time to ride on board and take a not a bird's eye view, an onboard view of a lap here round the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Lap 22 started now. Oh, sorry, lap 21 started now. I do apologise. For Avenicus, 1.9 seconds is the gap. And watch that come down as he chases Maka down in that Mercedes right up ahead of him. Turn 3 and turn 4 here, long right-hander, almost basically one corner, let's be really honest. As we now make our way down the first straight of 3 into turn 5. This is, I think it was Connor Lane or something like that, or Conlaw Lane, as he's now within a second of Maka, coming now into T6, T7 here, tricky left-hander, you need to get the braking zone just right for T8 here. If you get the first one wrong, you'll get all of them wrong, and you will lose a ton of time. Now, on to what I would call really another little straight here, however, it is not quite. It is a very flat-out, quick right-hander, and then a flat-out, quick left-hander. Onto the trickiest corner of the track, into what I now have named Treasure Cove, turn 12, here it is, through the little kink there, onto the Boulevard straight. He's going to have the DRS open all day long here on Maka. He's going to get that move done nicely before they reach the end of the Las Vegas strip, down in through T13 there of the kink of the strip. He'll get the move done nicely before they even get to the end. Nice space given by both drivers there. Fantastic racing. Move done. Turn 14 into the tricky chicane of 15 and 16. And then all the way down to the start-finish line of T17. And over the start-finish line, as you can just see in your view there, just a little bit up the road. That's not as far as you might think. 3 seconds up the road, and he'll be onto the back of P2 of Assume Basher in the sister team Red Bull. And you bet he's going to be charging. He's hungry for that podium. He's already on it. He's hungry for that P2, I should add. And don't count out P1. I can see there's a 5-second gap. He would have a lot to do here. And I think his teammate Boosted made the right strategy call of switching onto the hard tyres to make sure you got the longevity of the dry tyres you finish this race. But Basher ahead is on the medium compound tyre, and you can see now 1.7 seconds is the gap. The gap back to Maka, 2.5. He's already pulled out a huge gap onto him. As we're now going to quickly ride on board here with the other Alfa Romeo here of Heated, as he chases Lawn into this tricky sector of this first sector of the Grand Prix, as they now make their way onto the little back straight here, through the quick right and then left. He's going to go round the outside, and I think he's got the move done before they even make it to the Boulevard strip. However, Lawn is going to pick up the DRS nicely, and I think Heated should have timed that a little bit better. So he got the DRS now down onto the strip itself, and watch Lawn open up that DRS behind, and watch the closing speed on this. It's a 7/10 gap, but DRS is now open. It's gone up to 8, but it should now begin to drop, and dropping all the way down. I don't think he's going to have it though. He might have just dropped back a little bit too much. And actually, I think what we're going to do now is ride on board with Avenicus once again. He's all over the back of Basher within one lap. He managed to close, I think it was about 2 seconds, nearly 3 seconds onto him. As Lawn, I think, might have made a mistake. He's dropped back over a second now to Heated, as he's looking to go up the inside. This is a little DRS zone here, down into T5, gets the move done before we even get to the corner, and he has now made his way up into P2 once again. And this is exciting. Now, can he chase down his teammate for the win? He's got 2.5 laps to do it, 4.6 seconds to gain. And this is definitely going to be interesting. Does he still have the longevity in those tyres? Has Boosted managed to hold out on those hard tyres long enough and saved enough rubber to keep up to pace and up to speed so that he doesn't lose this position to his teammate? 4 seconds, 3.9 seconds now as they come onto the Boulevard strip for the 23rd time of this evening. DRS would be wide open if they were in the thing, as I think Wheat up ahead there. What's happened to him now? I think he might have he's either missed the corner completely or he's gone into the wall. I'm not quite sure what is what. However, he's going to have the leaders coming up onto him probably by the end of next lap. So he's going to really want to make sure he ducks out the way and doesn't ruin this battle on our hands that we could witness, as I'm not sure if Avenicus has got enough ERS. He got the red light flashing on the back of his car there. That means he's charging the battery, and that is not what he needs. The gap is now 4.1, 3.9, 3.8 is dropping once again. It's through these twisty, turny sectors that he's picking up the time on his teammate ahead of him. However, I don't think he's going to have enough time to close the gap fully and potentially mount an attack and win this Grand Prix. I think he might have to settle for P2 here this evening. However, still 1 and a bit laps to go, and it's still all to play for, as the gap is now 3.1 seconds. As Wheat there, I'm pretty sure he's got the blue flag. You see it waving there on your screen, and he should absolutely move out of the way. And I think we have ghosted on in this, thank God. Online, you don't have that luxury, and it's very off-putting, and the backmarkers could easily ruin your race should they wish. However, I wonder if... I don't think he's going to have the DRS on Wheat in the Williams, so that is probably a good thing. So this is going to be a real test of speed itself. Has Avenicus got enough life in those tyres to eke out enough of a lap time to catch his teammate on the old set of hard tyres that he has? I'm not sure he's going to be able to. You could, as I say, the red light flashing there on the back of the AlphaTauri. I wonder if Boosted's got the same issue. Has he got the red light flashing? No, he does not. I think he's got battery to spare, and rightly so. I think he's had this race very nicely and comfortably under control pretty much from the off. And it's going to be an absolutely fantastic afternoon for him. It will definitely help his championship charge up the leaderboard of the standings, and the same for Avenicus too. Both of these drivers, I think AlphaTauri, are looking quite strong at this point, and they'll definitely enjoy the 1-2 finish here that they no doubt will achieve. I'm sure all they've got to do now, I think safe to say, just bring the car home, lads. And more from Avenicus' point of view, just make sure you bring the car home. I don't think you're going to gain that 2-second gap within this last few sectors of the Grand Prix. Sector 1 is over. You've only got 2 sectors left. 1.8 seconds is the gap though. You really needed to be within that DRS zone coming down onto the Boulevard Straight, and he's just going to be outside of it by 7/10 of a second, as we've got a caution as Wheat has retired from this Grand Prix on the final lap. Although he was lapped, so it's the second to last lap for him. I think he still might pick up points there. I think if you finish 90% of the Grand Prix, you are able to pick up the points of where you DNF/ finished from. So I think Wheat will still pick up P10 in this Grand Prix, but unfortunately he won't actually see the checkered flag. However, now on to the final straight here for Boosted RB in the AlphaTauri. What a fantastic afternoon for him under the lights of Las Vegas, and he brings it home for P1 and P2 for Avenicus in the other AlphaTauri. Double podium position finish for them. What a fantastic result for them as well, as Assume Basher picks up P3, Maka P4, as we now wait for the rest of the grid to finish as well. Alpha Heated brings it home in P5 in the AlphaTauri. ROM Lawn currently sitting P6, and he's still got the final sector to go as well. Unfortunately, no on-track battles here to bring to you as we come over the finishing line after this 25 lap race here at Las Vegas. So Lawn will bring it home in P6. Bossan not too far behind him though in P7 in that Ferrari, and Marcello bringing it home in P8. Last corner to go for him, T17. There he goes over the line. P8 for Marcello, and his rival for the day, or I say that, he almost loses it. Yasin there, out of the second to last corner, the penultimate corner. That wouldn't have been a fun way to end your afternoon, but he's not going to be very happy. After setting pole position, the Swede, he brings it home by doing a donut. I'm not too sure the stewards will take too kindly to that. Come on, bring it across the line. Finish the race for everybody, please. Yep, we're watching you. I would be interesting to know what they're going to do about this, because we are watching him as he finally reverses it over the line. P9 for Yasin, and I think he might get a bit of a reprimand for that one. Be interesting to see. It's telling me there P8, so I wonder if some penalties affected the positions there at the end. Let me see. But what a fantastic day for RB Boosted. The Scotsman there, I don't know what's going on here with the screen, everyone's blacked out. But the Scotsman there taking home the win, and he is my driver of the day. He has commanded that from start to finish. And what a drive from him. After that first safety car, after the second safety car, he absolutely commanded that drive today. So well done to him picking up the win. And who did it move down the grid? I believe it moved down the grid Boss Yan. So I wonder if he had some penalties added on to his time there at the end of the race. But it would have told me, wouldn't it? I'm not quite sure. Anyway, that is your rundown for the race today. Thank you very much for tuning in. I hope to see you next week, where we will be flying round. Where will we be flying round next week? Let's have a quick look, see where the next Grand Prix will be next time out. Next time out, we will be taking place at the Austrian Grand Prix, the home of the Red Bull. And no doubt the AlphaTauris will want to put in another strong performance there. What a day for Red Bull. Look at that. AlphaTauri, Red Bull, round out your top 3 podium. Congratulations to everyone taking part and to everyone who finished as well. I've been your host for this evening. My name's Ashley. If you want to follow the GRL Division 3 now here, then do give us a follow. I will be hosting the commentary every week. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the future. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.